What comes to your mind when you think of some of the best video game companies of all time? You might think Nintendo, Sony, Microsoft, Atari, Nokia. Yeah, Nokia, the cell phone company. You might think I'm just joking, but I jest not with you. The Nokia N-Gage was released on October 7th, 2003, and forever left a profound impact on the gaming world. Yeah, that's a lie. It sucked and it was a commercial failure. The idea was cute though. It was a cell phone that you could play video games on. Get this, on the go. This concept was pretty ahead of its time, since it was only a little under a decade before people would grow to expect this out of their smartphones. The difference between those and the N-Gage is that modern smartphone games are often free to play, or maybe they cost $1, but Nokia N-Gage games retailed for around $30 on average, give or take. This was on top of having to pay for a phone plan, and the device itself being $300. As stated, this console was a complete and utter failure, but of course, a really interesting relic of gaming history. How were the games themselves, though? A decent amount of heavy hitters made their way to the console, such as Sonic, Elder Scrolls, and even Call of Duty. The issue is, these games were very limited in comparison to their home console or handheld counterparts. The aspect ratio is really weird for one, which is an understandable decision since it's a phone, but look at this thing. And of course, sound and music had to be heavily compromised. Games came with either heavily compressed music or almost no music at all.
You just know that some Sega executive was thinking about games that could afford the N-Gage. They looked at Sonic, they were like, yup, then they looked at Super Monkey Ball. May as well. This game really pushed the hardware limits of the Nintendo Gamecube. So what could go wrong if we ported this to the Nokia N-Gage?
By now, I would expect most of you to know what a Super Monkey Ball game is, but if you haven't, I'll recap for you. It's a very simple idea. Choose a monkey, choose a difficulty, and go through a series of ball and marble style stages that correlates with said difficulty. You have only a number of lives and continues, so playing as well as you can, perhaps with some needed trial and error, becomes the focus here. You can grab some bananas to increase your life count, and a secondary goal is gaining the most amount of points to place highly on the esteemed N-Gage leaderboard. You can do this by being fast, collecting all the bananas in a stage, finding the alternative goals that allow you to skip a few stages, or optimally, all of the above. As for this iteration of Super Monkey Ball specifically, the first thing we need to address is that this game often gets compared to the previous Super Monkey Ball handheld game, Super Monkey Ball Jr., which was released on the Game Boy Advance in 2002. While there are some similarities and some assets reused, I think the games are somewhat different, but somewhat the same. The biggest similarity is that the control scheme from Jr. is reused here, which, is fair, since the Junior control scheme was very well tailored for a handheld console and worked fine. However, it's really only the same in concept. To recap, since you're using a D-pad, or I guess in this case cell phone buttons, and not an analog stick, the developers had the idea to let you use the A button to speed up and the B button to slow down, which turns the game from less of a physics-based game and more of a tank-like game. The difference between Junior and this game is that I feel like the turning is a lot worse here. It definitely doesn't feel as precise as Junior, which already wasn't very good. I think the controls aren't great. I don't even think the A and B buttons work as well as they did on Junior. This possibly could do something with the fact that I'm playing on an emulator, but my good friend Ninja Star Compass, someone who has documented Super Monkey Ball N-Gage specifically a decent bit, told me the controls are pretty similar on actual hardware. Part of the reason I think the controls feel worse is because the level design itself just doesn't work as well as the previous Monkey Ball games and doesn't suit them. They took less liberties here in terms of trying to make original stages like Junior did, and instead tried to replicate a lot from the GameCube version of Super Monkey Ball. This is a primary difference between this game and Junior. SME Junior tried more to cater for the console it was on, instead of just recycling these levels from Junior. I feel like they became very ambitious in the sense that they really wanted to recreate the GameCube game. The issue with this is that some stages just lose their meaning entirely. The bowl stage from Super Monkey Ball 1, for instance, was replicated, but at the top there's just a straight line you can ride on, ruining any purpose of the original stage. The stage from Super Monkey Ball 1 where you teeter back and forth, which really tested if you knew the physics of the game, is one of the easiest stages in the entire series, and it's an expert here, like halfway through. In fact, there's a lot of stages where you can just hold up and speed up to win, like the boxing glove stage. The stages in general are just not great. Even the bonus stages this time around often have a pathetic 6 bananas, and often just feel more worth your time to jump off the stage. I think the fact that they tried to bring so many stages from Monkey Ball 1 was pretty ambitious, but with this hardware, it just wasn't realistic. They would have been better off porting a lot more Junior stages than they did, or just porting Junior. On top of that, this game has fewer stages than almost every game in the series. Expert has 20 stages as opposed to 30 from Junior and 50 from Super Monkey Ball 1. There are no extra stages either, so finishing a mode without a continue doesn't really get you anything special. Just in general, this game is very easy in comparison to the previous Super Monkey Ball games, with the exception of a few levels. This becomes ultimately very disappointing at the end, as there's very little challenge, yet at the same time, holy crap is there a challenge, at least in one specific stage. Expert Floor 19 is just on the brink of impossible. The amount of monkeys I sent plummeting to their deaths for this level was horrible. To beat Floor 19, you need the most precise of precise movements to make it in the goalpost, and even then, you need to pray. If you touch a bumper, any type of acceleration that isn't 0, that's it. I mean, you're dead. It's trial and error and makes this mode stupid to beat Deathless. Thank God there's no extra stages or reward for beating Expert, because no one would ever see them without hacking. Like I alluded to though, the rest of the game is extremely easy. Even Master Mode, which I think you unlock by playing every stage in the other modes without warps, is probably the easiest Master Mode in the entire series. I beat it really quickly. I appreciate they added it, I guess. It's kind of nice to unlock it from playing levels over having to unlock it with play points, so I can appreciate that at least. A major issue with this game is that it can be really glitchy. There were multiple times I just flew through the goalpost. I remember one stage I thought I beat, so I started going on my phone to send a text, and then I realized I died. I think it's because I had too much speed, but it's just not fair and not something you could really fault a player for in any way. It's hard to imagine this wouldn't have been detected with playtesting, so I really do wonder what happened here. Speaking of development shortcuts, it's kind of lame that Master Mode reuses the Arctic background from Expert. In general, themes and backgrounds in this game, something that the Monkey Ball games are known for, are very few and far between. Comically enough, every 5th level, if it's a bonus stage or not, has the bonus stage background or music. Kind of like it was copy and pasted, but not changed. What's stupid is that Monkey Ball Jr. had more backgrounds and visuals in this game, and even ignoring the visuals, this game has a glaring issue with audio, in the sense that it only uses a 6-second loop of the Jungle Island theme. This pretty much plays for the entire game. This track will loop from the start of the first stage to the mini games all the way to the credits. While we're here, I do like that they try to continue the theme of original credits minigames. This one's kind of boring, but I appreciate they did something. I will try to look for the positives of a game in this series, and this is something I can at least appreciate they tried for, even if it's not that interesting. This game is tough for me as a reviewer, because I wonder where I can really draw the line between laziness and hardware limitations. It is true that N-Gage games often had bad audio quality, for example. I mean, look at this thing, of course it does. However, the games on the N-Gage typically had more than one 6-second loop of a song. Tony Hawk on N-Gage had actual songs, for instance. Granted, they were compressed as hell, but they were still there. This game definitely could have at least added in a few other snippets from the Junior games, even if they were also loops. At the least, the graphics in general are fine. The monkeys look better than they did in Junior, which is nice to see. Other than that, everything is pretty comparable to how Junior looked, which looked good. So I think overall, they did maintain a presentation that was solid. But because of the lack of backgrounds and themes, it definitely comes off a bit less diverse and less interesting. One big difference between this game and its Game Boy Advance counterpart is the party games. They aren't actually copied from Junior, although they're really bad, to be honest. Monkey Racing, the series' flagship racing minigame, has one course. One frickin' course. Not only is it visually boring, it's really difficult to control, but even with that, it's way too easy. I overlapped the other monkeys and I didn't even have to try that hard to do it. I think they forgot to program any sort of rubber banding for this. Some people complain about rubber banding for games like Mario Kart 64, but you need at least some of it. I don't know, this is just dysfunctional. New to the handheld games is Monkey Target. The goal is to land on platforms with the occasional hazard around you to rack up the highest amount of points. This is a far cry from the GameCube versions and almost impossible to really play. Landing is extremely precise, and there are no magnets like in Super Monkey Ball 2's Monkey Target. It's so easy to just overshoot it and fall to your monkey demise, or just not be able to land on a platform at all, although there's no water anywhere, so maybe you just land in a jungle somewhere instead of drowning. At least that's how I want to think of it. The draw distance is also really rough, probably one of the reasons this wasn't ported to Junior, and I don't think the N-Gage really was much better for this. I think they should have just brought over golf and bowling, because at least those are well suited to the console it's on. Monkey Fight at least is fine. It'd be hard to screw up, to be fair. You just punch monkeys off the stage with chaotic items, a series staple. Probably the best minigame in this collection. It's pretty similar to Monkey Ball Jr.'s Monkey Fight, although it's really boring playing it alone. And this leads us to our next problem. A big charm with the Super Monkey Ball games is that you can play these minigames with your friends. However, Super Monkey Ball N-Gage has no multiplayer. These minigames may as well just not be here as a result. Yeah, this is kind of rough feeling. N-Gage Super Monkey Ball in general just has no multiplayer involvement. The multiplayer in Junior wasn't great, but it existed. Here, they didn't even try. Apparently, the N-Gage was capable of multiplayer, but I would imagine it probably wouldn't be very good, to be fair. It apparently used Bluetooth and internet connections, which for its time was respectable, credit to it, but they didn't even try for this game. Was it a limitation? Was it rushed? Considering how obscure this game is and how rarely it's even talked about, we're probably never gonna know.
I honestly don't know what to say about this game. It's not good, but considering its hardware, I don't think we could have really expected that much out of it. It's not hard to avoid this game as a Super Monkey Ball fan. There's nothing present in this version that isn't in Junior or the other games, but is better. So if you're curious, check it out. You can emulate it or you can get a real N-Gage, but there's really not much to see here. It's hard to flame it or really roast it by the same token because it's just an N-Gage game. I mean, they tried. Was it a good game? No. But you gotta give them points for at least trying. Anyways, thanks for watching. If you liked this video, be sure to check out the future parts of the series. Next up is going to be Super Monkey Ball Deluxe, which is like a port, remake-ish, remaster for the PlayStation 2 and the Xbox, which is a pretty good idea.
Yeah, okay, so excuse the random bad mic quality, but that's kind of a lie. When I recorded this, I thought the video would be out a lot sooner, and therefore I'd work on Deluxe sooner, but I got very sick, if you can't tell by my voice. So, since it took so long for this video to come out, next time we're jumping ahead about, I don't know, 15, 20 years. We're going to be taking a look at the new Super Monkey Ball game, Super Monkey Ball Banana Mania. Be sure to watch it.